Hey crafters, welcome to Paulette's Pretty Paper Crafts. This is June 2nd, 2015, and this is the second day for Kathy Rakusen's 30-day color challenge. Kathy is just an amazing Copic colorist, and I'm going to try to play every 30 days with her challenge. Today's video had a really neat trick with Copic markers to bridge the gap between a light and a dark color. And so I am just filming my card as we go. I've already done this a couple of times, so we're going to do something similar to this. And wow, it has just made a huge difference in my Copic coloring. So let's get started. This is just really, really pretty cool. So I've already done part of my stamping because my video runs really long. I don't have a way to speed up my video. So I've stamped this main image here. This is from a Stampin' Up set called Simply Sketched, and I'm using this little flower image and this leaf image and then the heartfelt sympathy sentiment. And so I've stamped the flower in the center, masked it off, stamped another here, actually taped off the bud, stamped another flower here, and now I'm just finishing up with the greenery, and I do want it to kind of go behind that flower. Let's see if I got any more masking left. And I do have a mask that I did cut for that earlier that I just kind of faked to put over that flower. I do have this on an acrylic block lifted up so that my stamping doesn't go on my work surface and make that dirty. And let's just stick that in there and roll on. Okay, now I can pull all my masks off, and you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick them inside my stamp thing here, and maybe they'll stay. Some of my image didn't go all the way. And so I am going to take a pencil because this is a very sketchy stamp. And I used this Crumb Cake water-based dye ink. Kathy actually used a Ranger Distress ink. And I do have a few of those, but I like to do this kind of no-line watercoloring with this Crumb Cake ink. So that's what I'm using. And I'm going to just complete the stem there a little bit too. And I think we are pretty good to go. That stem didn't continue. It kind of started to, so I better tuck that in here too. And this didn't quite get dark enough, because of my mask probably. So just drop that in there as well. Okay. I've got a bunch of Copics. That is in case we have a B, so that's Y18. YR68, R29, R56, R17, YG25, R14, R12, G99, and a blender pen that has some Ranger alcohol blending solution in it. Typically, I started out with this Tim Holtz Adirondack alcohol ink fillable pen and had my alcohol blending solution in that. When I ordered Copics, I did buy 2 Copic Zero blender pens because the store I ordered from did not have the Zero blender refill. So I ordered 2 pens. I've already used them up in 1 year's time. And so I was using this. It does have it has a firm nib and it has a very floppy nib. And I was using that, but I don't like it as much as my brush tip. So I have filled one of my blender pens, the one that was a little stained on the end, with that, and I'm going to use that. So let's get going. I talk way too much. All right. So one of the really cool things that Kathy did in this today's tutorial is that she bridged the gap with a lighter color to a darker color. She used 3 markers, and I chose, these were the 3 that I chose. R56, R29, and R12. There's too much of a gap between these 2, so I'm going to bring in a 4th color, which is actually R14, this light rouge. So let's lay it over there. And I may not use the R12. I think I brought it in just because I did still have some gaps. Kathy did hers in sections. I'm going to do mine per flower and just try to hurry along. I'm going to put my finger on this flower because it is behind that flower and I don't want to get it confused. We'll do it when we get over to that flower. So just for a second, while I lay some of this ink down, I'm just put my finger in there so I know where I'm at and which flower I'm on. I typically don't color these big flower images because I don't know what to do with them. But Kathy has shown us what to do with them today, and so I'm just, my other 2 turned out really nice while I was filming, and I get off track, so I'm refilming because it's easier to do that. I don't have an editing program. Now, I'm going to take the blender, where'd it go? I'm going to take this blending solution and put it over this really dark ink first. And kind of saturate between it and where I'm going to put the red. And let that go ahead and fade and get working a little bit. And I'm going to take this very light color. This is the R12. And it is going to be up here at the top of my petals. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that on the top of my petals. And just leave a little bit of space between that and the R56. Because we're going to bridge the gap here in just a little bit between those. Then I'm going to take this R29 and come over the current and just pulling it up just a little bit. Still leaving a little bit of space. Now I can't leave any on this petal right here, but that's okay. Still leaving a little bit of white. And it's easier for me to pull the marker away from me, so I'm just rotating and doing that. And what Kathy did was she used an acrylic block and colored on this light tone, but I find that I'm wasting a lot of marker doing that, so because I scribble too much. I'm go big or go home kind of, so I'm going to pull it off of the marker over here and bridge the gap between the red and my pale marker. And I don't have the capability to zoom in, so this probably is not going to make a huge difference to you watching this. Sometimes when I'm videoing and doing little things like the name tags, I will raise my work surface up so it is closer to the camera, but I have to stand up or I don't know. It's just easier for me to color sitting down, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I am not raising my work surface today. And you can go and watch her video. I want you to go and watch her video. I just thought it would be fun to go ahead and film this and share, you know, what I did and how awesome this is. I got amazing results doing this, and I just love this. I mean, it's almost like, it makes it like watercolor. And I love watercolor. So let's, I'm afraid I'll get these mixed up if I don't keep the caps on them. So I'm going to go ahead and put that back on. So let's go on. Let's do another flower. And because this, you know, I don't want you to get bored. I'm probably already bored. But you can go along pretty quickly, as you can see here. And I'm not even, I'm not a fantastic colorist by any means. And so let's see, let's go ahead and saturate that. I think that works, it works a lot better to go ahead and get your blending solution down there. Now Kathy did hers in little sections. I am too impatient. So I just like to get done. So I just rush along. But you can learn so much from her. I didn't have art in school, in you know, public school. I had I can't talk and do anything at the same time. I had band, marching band, and choir. And so they didn't make us. I'm adding my light color here and still leaving a little bit of white space in there. They didn't make us take PE or art. And I just really think it was a disservice to us because I didn't have art until I was in college, and it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. They expected us to already know how to blend, you know, highlight and shade, and I didn't know how to do any of that. And it was just a miserable year for me. Okay, what am I doing? I need to blend with this and this. Here we go. So anyhow, I've just had to, and there's still some, you can see there's some on my marker. Let's just go ahead and use what's on there. It's amazing that you can take that darker marker and just bridge the gap. Oh my gosh, I just think this is amazing. And I love the results of it. Love the outcome. And just get that variation. Okay, I think I missed this little section right here. I don't know what is going on there. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of that R56 and then some R29 over the top of that. And then we can continue adding this. Now I did have to step away for a few hours. My husband got home and I didn't realize it was time for him to be home. And so I went downstairs to say hey, and then I needed to go buy dog food, so I went and bought some dog food and got my hair cut, which was out of control. Okay, now I'm just going to take this lighter pen and just go back across my tips there a little bit. And since this still has some of that R14 on it, I'm just going to drop it in there on that extra little petal. It seems like it's coming up and filling any of those little white gaps. And I'm just going to do that over here too. Rather than wipe that off onto some empty cardstock. Okay, let's do a little bit of greenery. And I've got G99 and YG25 for that. I do need to get some more greens. I have just a huge gap in my greens. But you know, I had some kind of like mid, I do have some mid-tones in the Bics that bridge the gap between these, but I gotta tell you, I'm loving the brush tip of these Copics, so I need to get some more greens that are in between these two colors. And I'm going to drop just a couple of little marks, like right under the flowers. And you know, why did I leave that one stem? That stem is for the bud. And since I masked that off on the stem is there. I'm just going to go ahead and pretend like there's a flower on it, because what else can I do? Nothing. So just go ahead and drop that in there. A little bit there and here. And because these buds, I don't know, the way these are drawn, they just feel incomplete to me. So I'm going to put kind of like a rose, like roses have that little bit of green going up the edge or the side there. I'm just going to do that because I liked that better on my other ones as well. I'm rotating my work just because that's easiest for my hand. There's a tip of a leaf right there, so just put a little there, and let's see, right here, and that would be shadowing a little bit right there too. And let's see, just what kind of thing. Okay, that's the tip of a leaf there, so it's actually like that. Okay. So that's pretty good. Pretty good. And then I'm going to go ahead and put some blender on that. Gosh, can you hear me? I just realized I don't have my earplugs in there, and it's probably going to turn the video off when I poke it in, so I may just have to patch it back together. Let's see what happens. Nope, it's still going. Okay. That's just fine. I'm just going to adjust the camera a little bit. Okay, I'm going to put some blender in there and just kind of start that blending a little bit before I put that other green on there. And one of the things I love about the blender solution is even though you put it down and go on to another part, it's working. And gosh, I need to have this card open. Look what I did. Look at that in there. Well, I'll have to cut a piece of paper and just tape in there. You always need to be working with that open and something else because this just soaks through to the cardstock. And I don't know what this Paper Studio White heavyweight cardstock technically is. I don't know what the weight of it is. But I'm going to imagine it's not as thick as some other things. You know what I would really like to try is what Simon Says Stamp, what they use, the design team uses. And I actually have a couple of pieces of that in the card kits. I want to say it's like 120 pound. Nina Solar White. And I want to try some of that. I'm curious. There's my alarm to take my leave, and I already took them. If my print shop, if my local print shop could get that, I'm going to ask them one of these days. So almost done adding blender to those. And I'm not going to do those up on the flower buds. And then we'll take some of this YG26 and just drop some of that in here. And I'm going to resist filling in the whole leaf just because that's different than what I normally do. And I really love the minimalist coloring that some of the card artists do, but I have a really hard time not filling the space. I don't know what it is. There's just something about it being incomplete. And I feel like I have to put color. So I'm really trying to avoid that. Because there is really nothing wrong. I really love the look of leaving a little bit of white. Okay, I think, except for that leaf right there. Okay. Now I'm going to take the blender and just go ahead and blend out that lighter green a little bit. It's just going to blur it just slightly. And it's kind of going to give it a kind of a watercolor. Not really, but kind of, sort of. Give it a watercolor look. It's just going to soften it and blend it out a little bit further than where I put it. And then I'm going to do the same thing on these leaves and just drag that out a little bit. And if you're curious, these over here have been blended out a little bit, and these are still full strength. Well, full strength with the YG06. YG25, excuse me. And that one little weird leaf that's on the edge. And that one right there. Okay, let's do some berries before we do those other flowers. And that's why I've got this R17 out here. The R17, the YR68, and the R14 is what I'm going to use for those. So let's start with the R14. And you know, I don't think the R17 is what I use. I think it was the R56. So pardon me, R56 for the dark, R14 for the middle, and YR68 for the light. So we're going to start with the middle color, which is R14, and just put kind of a C or a comma on each of those berries. And then I'm going to go in with this R56 and just draw a little line underneath. And when this blends, it's going to be perfect. It gives them just a nice bit of depth. And some of those berries were behind the stem, and I just colored right over that. That's probably not right, but... And I'm just going in a circle and catching both of those colors. And then that will blend via the magic of the alcohol marker. And now we can do these last flowers. So let's go ahead and do this one. And this petal here. Okay. And a little bit of a blender. I should have put my tape on that end, but I wanted to cover the area where it said number 0 blender. But that's confusing me because I want to pull the lid off of that end. I don't know why. Okay, just blending right over that dark color. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the light color down, which is the R12. And my marker still has a little bit of that darker color R14 on it, but I'm not worried about it. It will be just fine. Okay. And then some of that red, which is the R29. I'm going to have to save a sample of this because I am so pleased with these colors. And you know, I just pulled stuff I didn't really know. And I am really pleased with this color combination for this flower. I can't say that I've ever colored this flower before. I've had this stamp set for a while. I'm really good at getting stuff and going ahead and organizing it and putting it in my categories, which this is in my floral category. And then I kind of forget what I have. So I've started a little bucket where I can kind of keep some new stuff out because it gets put away, and then I don't revisit it until I need something. And then I'll go back and revisit it. And I go, oh, I forgot I had this. Okay, so we're going to take that, and that's R12 and the R14, and we're going to do that magic mid-blending here. Oh my gosh, I love that. I love it every time. It is so awesome. Okay, and what did I miss? I guess, what was I doing? Was I coloring that in kind of sorta on those other ones? I think it's really the orangey pinky, but I included it in some of those because I didn't know what to do with it, so I included it. And oh well, I suppose everybody interprets these flowers differently. I'm sure they do. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and whatever's left on my marker and just let that blend out and just rotate it around a little bit. Give it a turn, give it a little quarter turn. And I feel like those were a little bit light over there. Okay, now let's do our berries. We're almost done. And let's see, I need to cheat and look at the cards that I did when we started this video. And where did they go? They've evaporated. Okay, I guess I'm not going to. I don't really need them anyway, do I? Nah. We did just like the other things and started with this R56. And I'm just going to dot a little bit along there. Okay, blender. Just get that going a little bit. Then we're going to put a little bit of red in there. And I'm going to use that darker orange. Let's go ahead and put these away. Is what I think I pulled out for that, which is the lipstick orange R17. And I have got tape on it marking that because I kept picking this up thinking it was red. Because these are just, I don't know, they're just too close. or these two are so close, and I had to distinguish the difference between those. So I just went ahead and marked it. Okay, let's stick a sentiment on it and call it good. Dare I shut it while those are still, not really, while those are still kind of activated. I'm just going to use some Memento ink because that's what's out here on my desk. I need to find a refill for my Ranger Archival Jet Black ink because it is just wonderful. And I think I'm going to stick this up here in the top. And gosh, let me see if my... Okay, that's going down just a little bit, so I need to lift it just a little bit and hope it's... There, not too bad. So anyway, I hope you guys will join the 30-day color challenge. I just think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm already having fun and we're only on day 2. If you have any questions, be sure and let me know.